probably 3-4 weeks
Let's
before.
put it this way: Brian went on a lot of first dates.
They even call them birthdays.
An engineer, a math professor, and a sweet corn breeder. With our powers combined, we are 3 guys and a bottle of bourbon.
What could go wrong?
Brian, what did you buy?
All right, welcome back to another edition of 3 Guys and a Bottle of Bourbon. Tonight we are going to taste a Wilderness Trail Rye. This is actually a Benny's store pick. So Cask Strength, coming in at 4 years. They give a few more, a lot more information as far as it's number 4 char and toasted, where it was stored in the rick house, and yeast strain. If you don't know a lot about Wilderness Trail, this is a relatively, I'd say, new distillery in the big scheme of things. They started out in 2012. So really, I mean, some of their oldest stuff would be, I think they've released some 6-year bourbons, and but this rye that we're tasting tonight is going to be a 4-year. So out of Kentucky, they have some experience behind their distilling team, and really putting out some nice product. I think, up till now, some of it's been a little young, but you can definitely tell it has some potential. So excited to see what we have tonight with this single barrel rye.
Yeah, definitely. Wilderness Trail is one of those, like New Riff, if you haven't heard of them. They're kind of the new distillery wave from Kentucky, and they're definitely bringing some good stuff. Yeah, and like Chuck said, they just released a 6-year bourbon that has hit the market and people have been going it wild for, and they've got some great products.
Anything I can drink, I consider a great product.
If it's liquid, Brian will drink it.
Pretty much.
It's liquid, great. If it's alcoholic, even better. So, and honestly, as far as color goes on this one, you have kind of a darker color here. 4-year has a little bit of age to it. I'd probably consider this about a dark amber, possibly light copper. So
on the nose,
I'm just drinking here, people. I'm just here to drink. That's why they bring me.
Exactly. Brian just always brings the fun to the channel. I would say on the nose, it
drinking
smells
first, fun second.
You got your priorities.
You're here.
You are our mooch. You get the I would say on
mooch
the nose.
Proud.
Yep, on the nose you get the herbal, the grassy notes, maybe a little bit of hay, but you do get a little bit of oak on that too. So it's been in the barrel for a little bit of time.
Yeah, I didn't give the details on the mash bill. So this is just 56% rye, 33% corn, and 11% malted barley. So that's not a high percentage of rye for quite a few ryes. So,
yeah. Well, and one of the unique things on this nose that's nice too is, even though you get kind of that oak flavor, that herbal flavor, I say those are somewhat dominant. But that nose also just has a hint of sweetness and sour, which is, kind of get a little bit of apple. And we kind of discussed this, and it's almost like a Granny Smith apple. It's not that fully sweet like Honeycrisp. It's more of that sweet and sour hint that you get on the nose, and then follow through into that palate. It's very nice.
Yeah, I mean, I was getting sour, like the sour fruit, and Brian, you suggested the Granny Smith, which was I think is spot on.
Yep, and then into the palate, you start getting that honey, apple note, maybe a little bit of herb note, which then goes into the finish with your pepper and everything like that, your rye spices.
The way I look at that palate, at least for me, is you get a little bit of that sour, and then I just feel like the sweetness, just like a drop of honey, just comes in on your tongue, and just provides that pop of sweetness, at least for me.
I say, man, the way you're going tonight, we'll just be quiet and you just do the whole thing there, Brian. You're rocking it.
Oh no, I got to keep drinking. So by all means, keep going.
definitely some of that mint and from the rye. That's a kind of a typical note from a rye grain.
Yeah, it's definitely your typical rye, but I would say there's a little bit extra there with the Granny Smith flavor and the honey and things coming in. Um, Having tried a couple ryes lately that have been a little iffy, this is definitely a rye that is up there. It's a good one.
Yeah, and I'm not even I wouldn't classify myself as a rye guy, so it takes a pretty good one for me to be impressed or even interested. And this one's piquing my interest tonight. Like I like the complexity of both the nose with the fruit, in addition to the typical rye herbal notes, and then
Yeah, I would say this is a great rye for somebody that really likes bourbons and is willing to venture into the rye category. This isn't as herbally and rye forward as, say, Willett's rye is, or New Riff rye or something like that. This is a good like bourbon rye, I would say. You get some of those bourbon notes with the sweet and the caramel and everything like that, but you're getting a little hint of the rye notes.
yeah, and that's maybe that's why I like it more, just since it kind of bridges that gap of I don't love the full rye.
Yeah, I would say for, especially a rye, maybe like the 115 proof area, you don't get the full oomph on the finish that you might with that typical rye. So it's a good transition into ryes from that end. I typically like the ryes. I've really gone from not liking them to now developing a palate for them, and those are probably my preference at this point in time. But this is still very nice, and definitely an introductory rye, kind of like TJ was talking about. Great one to buy, get into ryes. I'll be the advocate for those. They're a good thing.
I would say we have to caveat the fact that you really like ryes with the fact that you live really, really far west of Missouri, which means you can get like a lot of good high west products like Yippee-Ki-Yay and Midwinter Night Drum and the really, really good top of the line ryes. So
Double rye, store pick.
Yep.
I need to save some of that bottle so you guys can actually taste it.
Yeah, that would be good.
That bottle's coming down quickly.
All right, so for the final breakdown, as far as price, Chuck, what did you pay for it?
About $45.
So yeah, so you're about 45, $50. Availability, if they distribute, Wilderness Trail does to your area, you're gonna find it. You may not find a store pick, but you'll definitely find it on the shelf. It's pretty common. They're definitely making a name for themselves. They are mass producing like crazy. It is all over Kentucky. And then for the nose, what are we thinking?
I mean, I appreciated the complexity. We kind of went through a few herbal, the sweet, sour fruit notes. It was good. At 3.5 is where I'm at.
Yeah, I would agree.
Agreed.
3.5. Yep. All right, 3.5 across the board. And palate?
This is probably the low point for me. I give it a 3. It was good, but I just felt like the palate on this was special.
I agree. There was still some sweet, and the herbal and the apple kind of carried through from the nose, but it took a step down from where the rest, both the nose and the finish. So I'm at a 3.
Yep, I also agree. And then for the finish, you get some of that oak, mint, pepper coming back in, and it definitely lasts a long time. So I'd probably bring that back up to about a 3.5.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I'm in the same place. So solid finish.
All right. So overall, if you do not have a Wilderness Trail rye on your shelf, are you going to hunt it? Are you going to buy it? Or are you just going to be like, I'm just going to drink it at the bar. I don't need to actually have a bottle. For me, I would probably buy it. Like I feel like for the $40, $45 price range, it's a pretty good rye, and you really can't go wrong having that on there. And especially, I think it's just going to improve the older and older it gets.
Yeah, for me too, this would be a definite buy, especially at the $40 price range. you know, it's hard. I don't know enough about this particular brand to know like the difference between our store picks versus maybe what's generally on the shelf. But probably if I were to go tomorrow and see this based on this particular store pick, I would probably still be willing to buy just to see how it compares and be very happy with that $45 ish price tag.
Yeah, and for me, I mean, I like this is only the second or third time that I've actually tasted this bottle, and I've continually I've increased in as far as my liking for it. So continue to be impressed with it, despite my fact that I don't love ryes, or I just like bourbon more than rye. That's probably the better way to say that. So yeah, I would be able to buy it, honestly. Like I'm really happy with this bottle, especially for the value. I think that it's a solid pickup.
All right, so there you have it. So if you enjoyed this, please hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, hit us up with a comment. Tell us a bourbon that you want us to try. You know, I've got a collection. Chuck and Brian, they both have collections. Maybe we will pull it out and give it a sample and everything like that. So see you next time.
Stay neat, my friends.
Power of bourbon. Keep drinking.